And we're live.
On a Sunday.
Welcome, Tyler. Yeah, thanks for hopping on a Sunday with us.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going? Are you talking to us from your new apartment?
I am. I just got this place. We moved
Hey,
in.
congrats.
Little under 2 weeks ago. Wow, time's flying.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Sometimes
It
we
is.
wake up and we're
It
just
is.
like, oh wow, like it's another day.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we're going to bed. And then it's
Yeah.
like,
They just
oh,
don't
shit.
stop happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like lately Alex and I are in this just constant cycle of like wake, eat, work, gym, work, sleep. And so we're kind of doing the same thing like every day. So it very naturally just like goes from Monday to Friday and then back to Monday real quick. And you're like, where did October go?
Yeah. Well, I find that the most gets done in those little periods. It's like I don't want to get too too early. But since I've started being business oriented, I guess a big focus of mine has been. Sorry, the echoes screwing me up a little bit. A big focus of mine has been kind of trusting the process, thinking about the process. So just like keep going through those motions, and eventually you're going to reach the goal. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, like that's kind of what it is, right? You kind of it's a grind in a way. So
For sure.
for you, like
For sure.
I'd love to hear like your journey because I'm not super familiar, and I'd love to hear it in your terms as well. Like for you, is this like the first business that you're launching, or is this the second, or what?
Mm-hmm. It's the first time I've ever even. It's the first time I've ever attempted being a business person, I guess. So,
okay. How's it going for you?
It's complicated. If I was trying as hard as I should be right now, it would be going great. But I've been kind of traveling full time for the past 3 months or so. For the past 3 months or so, it hasn't put me in like. I mean, it's an excuse, but it hasn't put me in the best mindset. Really put my foot down on the act of fulfilling the process.
So you
Sorry
like
for
you're,
my
like,
pauses.
starting and
Pauses, by the way.
What was that? Sorry.
I said sorry for my pauses. The echo. I hit it and then I have to wait for it to stop.
So
Just
is it
like that.
echoing
Just
because
like that.
we're not muting when he's talking?
No, you're talking about the echo from your own voice, right?
Yeah, but she might be click when you're not talking. Let's see if that helps.
Yeah, I think if we mute our mics when he's not talking or when he's talking, then
Yeah, is there
sure.
an echo? Yeah, there's totally still an echo.
Yeah.
It went away.
Oh, did it? Okay, I'll try again.
Checking for echo. No echo.
Hey.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right.
When you talk, I'll mute it then.
Okay, let's restart.
So I just want to. Sorry, what?
Process. The question.
So I just want to kind of go back and kind of review like what you're doing now. So basically, you had no experience doing any kind of online business before, and then you decided to join the local marketing vault program, which for anybody who's not familiar, basically teaches people how to start their own online business by helping small businesses get customers. So this is your first time being an online business owner, and you said that you've been traveling for the last 3 months now. Can you kind of explain a little bit more about that situation? Because you got off to a really interesting start in starting your business.
Okay, yeah. So I was bartending before this, and I knew I was going to be taking off to live on the road for a few months. I have a school bus that I've been kind of working on. So a big part of leading up to leaving was like, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to feed myself while I'm out there? And I mean, in 2023, if you're on the internet at all, everybody is talking about their social media marketing agency or their Amazon FBA business, their dropshipping stuff. There's constant movement in regard to making money on the internet. and people are always talking about it. So I was like, I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world by any means, but I'm smart enough to apply myself to things. So I was looking around, and I'll be honest. This isn't my proudest sentence I've ever said, but I don't have much of a point of reference. So I almost joined the real world, is what I almost did. That Andrew Tate course, just because it I'm not going to get into the politics of Andrew Tate, but I didn't know where to start. So yeah, absolutely. So actually, I found the James Bonadies talking about like the two-page websites and how kind of that process works. So I clicked on that link to find out a little bit more. And that's when Kelsey called me. I actually canceled my first call because I was like, this is bogus. This whole thing's bullshit. I'm not going to even try. And then the second call came through, and Kelsey and I spoke about it for a while. You actually are the person that sold me on the course. And since then, it took me about a month from signing up for the course. Like, here's my debit card, take my money, give me the information. From day one to money in my pocket took like a month. And my first client was a $1,200 lead generation client for a roofer. And it seems, I don't know, in the group, it seems like a no-brainer to focus on lead generation. But And now that I'm into it, actually feels like I'm undercharging him for the value I'm bringing to his business. But he was my first client. He knew I was new. He was gracious enough to allow me to handle a good portion of his money toward ads and stuff. So I gave him a good deal. Not only that, that's helping me get good at my job, what I'm trying to sell people. And it's a process I believe in now. It's working. I'm getting him customers every week.
Nice. How much business do you think you're pulling in for him so far?
I've been lazy on the ATB setup, so I don't have like an actual pipeline really. But since we've started, I know he's closed like 2 $8,000 deals, and then he has another guy that it sounds like a full roof replacement. I haven't talked to him too much about it, but I listened to one of the calls, and that's got to be a few bucks. But he's constantly getting calls.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to touch on, because when you are helping any kind of local business get clients, a lot of people will kind of assume that you need to charge low. They're like, why would a small business owner pay me $1,000 a month? But you just kind of address that. You're like, well, I'm getting this guy, thousands of dollars of jobs. So him paying me $1,200 a month is not a hard transaction for him to make, because look at what I'm putting back in his pocket.
Exactly. And if you've never attempted to do something like this, you wouldn't. I feel like it would be natural to not feel like you would be able to provide that value for them.
Oh yeah, I mean,
were
you surprised? Like when you started the campaign with him, were you surprised at the results you got him?
If you go back into the LMV Facebook posts, I posted about the first client I got him. I was like, guys, it actually works. Just try it. Do it. It fucking works. And it didn't take, the thing that I guess, I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but for this particular moment, this trial that we offer people, you don't have to get them 15 leads. You have to get them 2 real conversations with somebody, and then they see that, okay, this isn't Angie's List. I'm not getting leads that 7 other people have ran through already. This isn't a corporate thing, and then they realize that they're working with somebody that needs them to succeed for them to succeed, which is kind of it's a good selling point, honestly.
It really takes a lot of what I found is that it takes a lot of that sales stress off, but also the risk from their perspective, because now they're like,
mm-hmm.
You're gonna sell me marketing. I've been contacted 20 times by so many people, and in our experience, there was okay, if you can do it, then just show me, and then I'll pay you. And it's this weird standoff, Yeah.
You can't just demand money from people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Because like if you have referrals, credibility, you're so busy, you know, of course, taking money first makes sense because you're in demand. But like for most of these people who don't even know who the fuck you are, it's like they're not going to be like, okay, like I guess so. Like like what? Like so for them, it's
Here's
like,
$1,500. Please don't screw me.
yeah, so,
Exactly.
like because they're trusting you with a bunch of money that they don't even know you and know if you have results. So I found, and it seems like you found that too, that the free trial, it's like, man, like it's just so much off your plate. Because you're like, well, let me get you some leads then. It's like stop
Keeps
talking.
people on
Let
the
me show you what I
phone.
can do.
Phone.
Right.
That's the hardest
And
part.
that's
Is
the hardest
getting
part
you
is
to not cold calling you.
Is that how you got your client? Did you cold call him or did you know him before?
I was doing my cold call cycle. I think I left him a voicemail actually, which I wasn't doing, but I just decided to. He called me back. Had no idea why he was on the phone with me, but and I was off guard. I wasn't in call mode. So he was like, "Yeah, you called." I was like, do you want marketing?" And he was like, "Not really." I was like, "I'll do it for free at first." And he was like, "Nothing's free." I was like, "This is free. If you pay me at the end of it, it's a tip. You don't owe me any money for this, but I'm looking for a job. I'll do it for free to show you that I can." And I'm very grateful for him too. You know, it takes two to tango. You can't just like go out there and be a business killer. You need to like, why should you give me your money? I don't have money to give you for no reason, but I have money if I like you enough, kind of deal, if that makes sense. There's no strong arm sales
for you.
Yeah, but I'm no sales killer myself, so I'll learn better strategies eventually. Maybe there are sales killers out there. I'm talking in here like I know what I'm talking about. I don't.
I think that that's actually a valuable point, though, not just in this business, but if you're trying to break into like any kind of business, just being willing to offer people some kind of short service for free, just to show them, hey, I'm not here just trying to sell you. I can actually give you value and I'm willing to prove it to you. And then we could talk about a business deal. But just being willing to give people some free value just to get in the door. And then sometimes you're surprised at how quickly they are willing to do business with you after, because they're like, oh shit, you're legit.
Some people feel bad about accepting a service for free. They'll almost, if they're metaphorically closed on a trial, they're already going to pay. They want to pay you at that point, because I found that conversation turns into like, I'll do it for free, to like a hardworking business owner. You know who you're working with most of the time, especially in the niches that we're working with, which are like trade businesses. It's always going to be tough dudes. So if you're kind of like, I'll do it for free, they're like, no. I don't accept shit for free. So they kind of want to pay you at that point. It's a weird game, you know.
They just want you to show them that you are right. Like they want you to be right. It's just they don't trust other people. At least that's what I found with that type of clientele. And it's great because you're like, good. You know why? Because now I'm gonna get you some results, and you ain't gonna shop around because you already know I can get you the results that you want. And now we're boys. You know, now we're friends.
Honestly, I can thank corporations for ruining their experience. Honestly, because then Tyler from Jersey is just, hey, what's up, man? I'm just a guy that does this. I'm not. You don't have to call my assistant. You can just shoot me a text if you need anything. That is such a strong selling point for these people. I mean, obviously,
yeah, especially for tradesmen too. Yeah, especially like you said, for tradesmen too, because they tend to be very like straight shooters, and they're like, I just want to know what you're gonna do for me. Jesse in the Facebook group commented and said, if you pay me at the end, it's a tip. She said that's a good line. Maybe she'll use that.
Oh, is this live?
But,
is this live?
Yeah, we're live in our little Facebook group.
Oh, surprise, man!
Yeah. Sorry, we didn't tell you to dress up or anything.
Oh shit!
No, so the big reason that I wanted to get you on here, Jesse's commenting. The big reason I wanted to get you on here, Tyler, is because your story always has stuck out in my mind, and I actually refer to you a lot because when you came into the program, I'd feel like it did feel like a risk for you because you were about to go live in this school bus. You technically didn't have a home address. I know that you were in a place where like your finances were pretty tight. And the thing that stood out to me about you was that you were never looking to use any of that as an excuse. Like, you had no excuses. You were like, I know what I want to do in my life. I know that I want to be my own business owner, and I'm here to make it happen. So the lack of funds, the it's not a good time, like those were never things that you put in front of yourself. And I think you were like 3 weeks or a month in, and you reached out to me and you wanted just kind of a pep talk. And even then, I remember feeling surprised because I was like, you weren't looking for an out. You weren't trying to get a refund. You weren't saying like, I can't do this. You seemed like you genuinely just needed somebody to like kind of nudge you to keep going. And then it was like maybe a week or two later that I saw you posted that you were like, I got a $1,200 a month client. And I was so excited for you because I was like, I'm going to talk about this guy all the time. I just feel like you're such a good example of like, you actually believed in yourself. That's so huge.
You gotta, you were taking risks here. It did. I mean, this course costs money, and it's not. I mean, comparatively speaking to a fucking marketing degree, this course is cheap. But if you don't have money to lose, the course isn't cheap. So I did kind of take a risk getting into this, and it took a lot of trust on my end. Like you were a person with me on the phone. Like I think you said fuck a couple times, and I was like, all right, I feel safer. I don't know why. But kind of those two things. In regard to business, you have to be willing to, I guess, take those risks. Because there are people in front of me that have already done this, and if you really apply yourself, I genuinely believe saturation is a myth. If you're trying your best to get something done, you're going to beat out any kind of petition. You're going to beat out yourself. Just really apply yourself to it, and it'll work. And I feel like I'm a good example of that because I'm not a business person. I'm not a public speaker. I'm none of those things. I just tried. I'm not different from anybody in that group. There's some fucking geniuses in that group. And I have the same potential to make the same amount of money as them. Unfortunately, their jobs are going to be way easier just because they're smarter than me. But the potential's there. The opportunity's there.
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest thing is that you have that self-belief. You're like, if somebody else can do it, obviously I can do it. And you were willing to just try, which I think is ultimately the thing that most people are just not willing to do is actually bet on themselves.
It starts with an open mind. You gotta be open to trying.
Ultimately, for you, like, what did you feel like made you decide to actually take the leap of faith and get joined in the group and start getting the training?
I had to do something. If that makes sense. I've been a bartender for the past like 8 years, and that's great money, but it's very hands-on money, and you can only make. I've never really thought about this out loud, but when you're working in a setting that you're making your money by being there, you can only earn as much as your time will allow you to. And in the age of the internet, it's ridiculous not to think that like you can do less work for more money and then slowly kind of scale that up. I'm into weird stuff, like outside of like spiritually, like esoterically. I believe everything is a game, including life. So you can play the money game just like you can go play the restaurant server game, I guess. So I don't know. It's convoluted. I'm probably sounded dumb.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. I think the same way about life being a game because it's like, well, like at the end of the day, if you have the decision, right? Like let's say you're at 85 or 95, whatever it is, and you're like on your deathbed in the hospital, and you're like, oh man, like I wish I did more. Like that's what everybody always thinks, and it's like, well, if you are spending every day fucking bored, and then like spending all your money on things just to make yourself feel better, whether it's just playing video games all the time, or maybe it's drugs for some people, maybe it's, whatever it is that your vice is, if you're just spending all your time trying to just avoid your actual life, well, what life are you really living? Like, what option do you have? Like, why not just say fuck it? Because I was in a similar position to you not with the school bus and stuff, that would have been cool, but the whole bartender side. Like I was bartending, I was doing stuff, and then I just like hit the same point where I showed up there every day and I was like, this sucks, man. Like, you know, you get busy, you know, you're busy, and then like 3 hours goes by and you're like, whoa. But then like those dead days where you're just sitting there like, you know, you got your like glass in your hand and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, just waiting, trying to look busy. You know, I was like, this sucks, man. I'd like write down like ideas and stuff just like to try and put myself out of that position.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had a chance to like maybe try something, I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And funny enough, this was like 7 years ago, but funny enough, it ended up being social media services for local businesses. So I just made like a full circle right back, back into it.
I think that you and I have a really good advantage in the sales conversation world and marketing. I've kind of changed my sales philosophy on marketing too. It's more of a numbers game than a sales game at first when you're trying to get clients. I feel like people kind of think about that a lot, but we're like automatically going to be socially flexible. We can bullshit with the best of them. We've dealt with all sorts of people, so I really think coming from a restaurant background makes these conversations with business owners easier because I can kind of mirror them, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're used to like putting on a face every day anyway, and being like as extroverted as possible, and also as conversational as possible. And I agree with you. Like sticking to that side of things is definitely better because you're right. It is a numbers game, and it's also like how you can handle situation game. When you're a server, you're actually doing the opposite sometimes. Like you're like, I'm not trying to piss someone off, you know? Sometimes in sales, you gotta be like, all right, like that sounds stupid, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, why would you do this instead of doing that? Like, where are you at with that? That doesn't really make any sense. You know?
It's something you gotta learn to be able to like arm wrestle a business owner into like making a decision that is ultimately right for them, but these are tough guys. I don't want to sound. I'm not smarter than anybody, but their communication is often not at the same capacity as somebody that spends their time talking to people for money. So them kind of challenging them is almost like a threat in a way. So it takes kind of like some confidence, because as a bartender you would know like when it's time to put you in your place, I must put you in your place. But I also have a bigger place of authority. When I'm a salesperson, I kind of want you to not feel threatened by me. But it also helps with some people. I guess you have to know that. You got to get a good read. Going. Does this guy? How does this guy move?
Yeah, it is. It's really a bit of a dance is kind of how I see it, but also how I've heard people like Hermosi talk about it is like, if you're trying to provide value to somebody, like you are there to sell them. You're like, I'm going to provide you a valuable service and I'm going to get paid well for it. But it is a bit of a dance in that like you have to kind of know who you're talking to and figure out what kind of tone to take and how to challenge them without making them feel threatened. And I think once you kind of know your niche and you know the type of people that you want to work with, that does get a little bit easier because you kind of start to pick up on those people. Like if you feel like you're really honing in on those tradesmen and the roofer type people, you're like, I'm kind of getting used to how they generally talk and how to talk to them. But I'm curious to get your perspective, like when you did first take that big leap into, okay, I am now going to be my own online business owner. You're kind of diving into this world you didn't know. Did you feel like you struggled with a little bit of that imposter syndrome and like just having the confidence to reach out to people when you were so new?
I still do. Honestly. I mean, this is bad for business, but I think I got this client because I got lucky. But I think that he has given me an opportunity to get better at what I'm providing people. Because, like, your first client, all you know is what you were taught in the course. Hopefully this works. But now I see it works. I want to be good and confident at it. And then I could see myself approaching business owners from a higher place of authority. I'm not going to tell him how to hang shingles. Same way he's probably not going to tell me how to optimize keywords. So I guess the further I get into that, the more I can put that hammer down. But I totally still feel like an imposter. I feel like I don't deserve the amount of money I'm making for the amount of work I'm doing. And I'm trying. It's not like I'm slacking on the work. I'm doing what I can, and it's just you can't fill a whole day with that work. There's not enough of it to do. You got to scale up. You got to scale up if you want an 8-hour day.
Well, and that's kind of the part of the business, right? Is like when you set the campaigns. I mean, they run. So now you get to shift focus.
They do it for you.
Yeah, you shift focus. So it's like your job is important because you're getting these clients in, and you're obviously doing it. I mean, you made $16,000 so far. So it's like what you're doing is obviously important. And, he's happy to pay you the $1,200 for him just to not even worry about it. And you're going to have to stress overnight thinking about like how to make it better, right? Like that's your role. I like what you said there about opportunity. Sorry, you go ahead, Tyler.
Okay. I didn't post about it because I've been busy, but I actually upsold him on SEO, and now he's paying me $18 a month. So
nice, well done.
I'm not seeing much of what he's paying me for SEO because I'm obviously delegating it, but just that he's willing to pay more for more service. He trusts me. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, I think what you said there, like again with the opportunity, huge, because when I asked you, what made you decide to even start? You were like, I needed to do something, and what you needed was an opportunity.
Exactly.
A different one than you already had, and you were able to put in the work yourself. Right? This is not like Kelsey here maybe helped you get in the program, but we didn't hold your hand, right? We didn't call these people for you, right? Like you were able to do these things yourself based off of what you saw, in a training portal or help from people in the community or whatever, but you're building that skill and you're getting the opportunity.
I've noticed that this is maybe it's not the most encouraging sentence, but it is very true. I've found when you're starting a business and you're trying to learn information, people only kind of want to give you some of it. You have to really apply yourself and try. And you have to apply the lessons you learn in the course, because I've noticed some people that you'll reach out to are kind of like, they'll give you shadows of information, they'll give you whispers, but if you really want it, you have to partner with them, or you have to like provide them with some kind of value. So I just don't want people to get like too comfortable, because it's a little aggressive when you get into the business world. Like people are nothing comes for free. So I can kind of get help from the people that wanted to see me succeed in the group, but then there was other people that wanted to succeed more, and I don't hate them for that at all. They work very hard for the information that they have, so I'm not entitled to that information by any means. That being said, there were people that were supportive enough to give me enough information to get to the next step, and that's oftentimes what you'll receive just in life, is just enough to get to the next portion. You're always kind of given what you needed. What you do with what you were given is kind of on you, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, in video games, you got to slay the first boss and then you get to the second,
Right.
That's interesting that you say that, though, because I feel like, definitely I hear what you're saying, that nothing really comes for free. You can only expect so much, free work from somebody. But I've run into so many situations in just like our professional development where you do feel that you're like, oh, this person clearly really wants to see me succeed because they're doing this for me for free. Like we've had people who have offered to we had this Mike guy who sat on a call with us for 2.5 hours explaining how to do a full Google Ads audit. We're
Google
like,
Wizard Mike was Santa Claus Mike.
Yes. He is a genius, but we were so shocked that he was just willing to give us 3 hours of his Sunday. And he was like, yeah, just, pay it forward. Or if you ever meet anybody who needs a Google Ads consultant, just send them my way. And you see these people who really do just want to see you succeed. Like we've had people who have offered to meet with us and introduce us to people, or, whatever it is. And those people stick in your mind because you're like, you owed me nothing, but you were still helping me out. And I'm going to think of you when I hit my goal.
Absolutely. I owe you dinner and like a nice bottle of wine or something. You guys were supportive. Alex, you were next to Kelsey. Some of them always caused you to send me It's nice to actually put a smile to the voice. But you guys, I owe you one.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I remember you were like wondering about the setup, and you're like, "Oh, can I do these multiple clients? What do I have to do?" And I was like, "Oh man, it's like pretty simple, man. You just do this."
Yeah, it worked out.
I mean, full disclosure on Mike. Mike's a great guy. When we
Mike's sick.
With him. We tried to get off. He was giving us too much. It was like, oh my god! It was like all these things. I was like,
yeah.
Honestly, get out of my head right now.
Yeah.
The dude, he can go.
He's a demon, man. But you know what? Those are shit. You know. And now I'm like, every time someone's like talks about how they don't want to do something, I'm like, guess what? I don't want to do Google Ads. I'm not that good at them. I like other things. I'm just gonna get Mike, the demon, to step in. You know, he wants $500 a month or something like that. Cool. You can sell it for way more.
He doesn't even have to think about it. He just.
He's crazy. It's just like a
your keywords are fucked up. Do this.
Fix your columns.
So where have you kind of, like, you have this one roofing client? What are your kind of plans now? Do you think you're going to stick with roofers, stick with tradesmen? Are you actively trying to get more clients? Like, where are things at now?
Okay, so I would like to I don't have the right to like really pick a niche just yet, but if I were to stick with roofers and I got maybe one or two more, I would probably try to focus my business around home improvement entirely. Like, I'll have ideally, I mean, I'll have some kind of partnerships going on with people that are better than me, but ideally, I want to be able to market everybody that can build a house. Your electricians, plumbers, your roofers, your landscapers, your hardscapers, your garage door installers, you kind of name it. So that's the goal. In terms of what my plan is to fulfill this goal, I hate cold calling, as does everybody, but I hate cold calling. And my current client pays my portion of the rent. So what I've chosen to do since I've moved in to this apartment, and that's right, you heard what I just said. My roofing client pays my rent. That is incredible.
Yeah.
So I have chosen to get a side hustle for the wintertime. I got myself a little hourly burner job. I can quit it whenever I want. I'm going to reinvest some of that money into a virtual assistant that cold calls for me. And at that point, it's another kind of, it's a sleeper system. It's doing it while you're not there. In fact, it's almost guaranteed to eventually work statistically. So I get a cold caller on scripts. I get a virtual assistant. We get that going. Now I have kind of an appointment setter. And I'm confident I can sell. There's people in the group that have offered to be a sales partner for me. So they're guns for hire. There are sales guns for hire. That's a thing I didn't know about before I joined the business world.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, hey? Like, some people are just like, I'll say anything to anybody. Like, I'll sell them something. I'm down.
Yeah.
One thing you should try too, or you should look into, I should say, is on LinkedIn. Maybe this could be a play for you. But I know Ryan Labar. He's got this whole he uses specific automation, so he can tell you the exact software. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
but
he's a whiz.
Yeah, he basically sets it up so it'll send out automated message. It'll add people that you're specifically looking for, and it'll search it for you. It's all automated, and then it'll add them in, and it'll start messaging them. And then when they respond, it'll stop messaging them so it doesn't look fake. So you can pre-send the messages, and you can start connecting with other people. So, for example, if you're like, I want to just look at roofers for this campaign, you could find every roofer in all the areas you wanted to find them in, and then begin connecting with them, and then sending them messages about how these other previous results that you've gotten, and how much a client has worked for them, and just start a conversation with them. But that could be something you look into, especially if you do end up bringing on a VA. Maybe you do that first, maybe you do that second. I don't know, but because that was something that I really wanted to do when we were doing ours. I was like, man, this thing's it's gold, dude. Because we saw it work with a client, and it was cool. I was like, dude, you're generating conversations, DMs with people without it being weird. Because you don't have to be like, hey, my name is Tyler and I sell people. You don't have to be like, hey man, what's up? Yeah. I help, like, how big's your roofing company? I've helped a few roofing companies. Oh, no way, really? Like, start the conversation with them in a really nonchalant way that you're not trying to sell them on the first message.
Yeah. That's really what I would probably find the most value out of, is just a way to start conversations with people easier, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. Just less autonomous, because I really don't like the idea of, like, here's the setting. You're a hard-working man. Your hands are dirty. I call you. It's inconvenient for you to answer the phone, and now I want to have a conversation with you. You're like, why? What do you want? Like, who the fuck are you? I kind of want those conversations to just happen in a way that makes them happier. I only got this client because he called me back. It's not like I called him and broke him out of work to have a conversation. He called me when it was convenient for him.
I think you're discrediting yourself a little bit, though, Tyler, because, like, at the end of the day, this client didn't just fall into your lap. $1,800 a month did not just fall into your lap. So you got to give yourself.
I guess I did it.
I hear what you're saying. I think you're trying to be humble and shit. That's boring. Okay, you did it. You got that client. You upsold him. You completely changed your situation. I think you got to give yourself credit for that. So I'm curious why, like, what made you decide to pick up this second job, which I understand you're going to use to invest in your business, but why go that route as opposed to, getting more LMV clients and bringing in extra income that way? What was kind of your thought process?
I need it now. I need money, like, in my pocket right this second. So for context, I guess I haven't talked about it much. I'm daily driving a school bus right now. So, like, it's not an ideal situation. I need a car, like, tomorrow. So I got, like, a pretty decent hourly job. I just deliver packages. And within a couple of months, I'll have enough to put myself in a car and then not really have to worry the same way I am. And even then, I'll probably quit this job just because of the amount of time I'm putting into it. And I still might get, like, a second part-timer. I might go work at a restaurant just because it's fun, have a little spend money, but I'll ultimately have way more time to invest in my business. But that is, the quicker I can get more LMV clients is, like, the better. But I'm still kind of getting set up here.
Right. So do you feel like you're focused? Do you feel like you're focusing on calling people just because that kind of works better for the roofer tradesman, or, like, why focus on cold calling if you feel like it's moving too slow?
Well, I've sent thousands of social media messages. They are not the most responsive. It's not the most responsive mode of prospecting. So I guess in my brain, all I know is cold calling. I'm kind of old school. But I know that there's tons of automation systems that you can have that make this easier for you, and I would like to learn more. I'm not a model for LMV. I don't want to be that. I'm not a business owner or anything. I'm just a dude that did the process and it worked. So I'm not like, don't look at me for good business practice. Don't look at me for good work ethic. None of that. It just worked because I tried.
For the record, I think that's exactly perfect, because you're just some dude who, like, I could follow some instructions. I followed some instructions. Happened, whether it was your action, luck, both, right? We all get lucky. But from what you did, you've already recouped your investment back by just having this guy being able to pay for your knowledge. And now you're, like, at a foundation. Because now you're like, okay, cool. I invested that money. Boom. I was able to, it sounds like, right? Because it's been probably 2 months now that you've been able to actually, at least break even from this client that he's been giving you. And he's paying for your rent at this point in your place. So now you're like, you're like two more, you're like another client away from being like, having a lot more breathing room. And then you're 2 more clients away from being like, oh shit, like, I do this full time. And then, like, 3 clients away, right? Like, you're, like, so close. It's really cool to see, because sure, you could have, we're not trying to pull you up as, like, this guy's the craziest hustler out here. this guy is a demon worker out here. You know, we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to show, like, yo, this regular guy who was in a bus, was bartending before, was able to land a client from just calling some people and then doing what was shown, right? And he probably got some extra help too in the community. Did what he was shown, and is now it's recurring for him, right? And now you're actually a step forward from where you were. You're not like, oh, I need to like figure out what to do. Now you're like, I need to figure out how to get some more deals. I need to get some more clients.
Exactly.
That's exciting.
I got one in like. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but in the amount of time that I actually spent to get this client in cold calling and reaching out to people, if I told you you had to put a collective like 40 hours a month in for the next 12 months and you'll be at $100,000 a year, like you would probably do that, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like I can conceptualize how scalable this actually is now. It didn't take me that long to get one client, and half of the process of me getting that client was learning how to get a client. So realistically, from like graduation, where in the course it's like, all right, you got all the information, get out there. I got a little slap on the ass from James and Jason, and it took me 2 weeks to get it. Then, if you think about like when they let us, I mean, they told us to do it earlier. When they were like, this is all you need to know, go try. 2 weeks. So you do that, and I mean, maybe you're going to have slower weeks, but you get one customer every 2 weeks. Even just one a month. Fucking $5K a month in no time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, the thing is, I mean, you've already said it. There's so many ways for you to improve right now in terms of your reach outs. Like, you know, you're thinking, okay, maybe I could bring somebody else on the team. I know for us, like, we were doing cold messaging a lot. Kelsey was like leading the front. I was trying to like do these meetings with people, and like we weren't even cold calling at that point. Like we were just talking to people, and then we discovered all these other ways to advertise, and then we're like, shit, we idiots, like, because we were just cold messaging. And it's, you know, if you got some time, do it, like, for sure. Like, you know, you're meeting people and that's what you're supposed to do. But then we're like, oh, like, we should just get on Upwork. Oh, like, then we got a client from there. Oh, like, we should, like, look on Groupon. Oh, like, who's trying to advertise? I can get you a better ROI. And Kelsey started getting, like, crazy amounts of people responding back. Like, whether we got on calls with them was one thing, but, like, the first step is that response back. Because it sucks when you cold message somebody, you get excited about the business. You're like, yeah, I can totally help these guys out. And then all of a sudden, you just totally forgot they even existed because they never answered you back.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's constant no response on Facebook and stuff. I send a lot of Facebook messages just because it's easy and you can just bang them out. You can only do 10 an hour before they cut you off. So once an hour, I'll just like send 10 out real quick, bang them out. But
it's bang, bang, bang. Yeah. I mean, like, for you too, like, because you've gotten this guy results, like, you just need to include that in the messaging, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the marketing as well. And be like, and I feel like, you know, if you find that people, like, respond to the voicemails, like, maybe you just, like, find a bunch of roofers, get their numbers, load them into ATB, and then you just shoot them all a voicemail message. So, like, that just goes to the phone.
Thinking about a lot. Voicemail.
Yeah. Hey, my name is Tyler. I'm a regular guy. I just started helping roofers get more clients. Last week, you know, after 2 weeks of working with this guy, I was able to get him 2 jobs. So that's $16,000 in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for more people in your area. Let me know if you're looking for more customers. I just want to work with one person in the area.
Yeah. But now that you have that case study that you can plug in, like, that's game changing. And I feel like if you're not using that in your outreach, you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So when you bring on that VA and you have somebody helping you cold call, like, plug that in if you're reaching out to other roofers. I mean, I'm sure you already know this. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm generating so X amount of dollars already. I'm interested to see what I can do for you in this area. I might actually try and step into a little bit busier of a niche because I feel like roofers are very geographically kind of targeted to be busy. Like I've called I think it's Lincoln, Nebraska, which has like the most volatile weather or windstorms, stuff like that. And I've called around there, and it's just like I've done this. I've looked at like what's the most volatile area in the country for weather, and it'll spit out so and so South Dakota, and but I'll call those guys, and they're like, yeah, I got called 6 times this morning already. It's 8 a.m. It's kind of funny.
Damn.
Like from other marketers?
Oh yeah. But it's mainly Angie's List. Those
Hmm.
I don't. I'm not gonna say anything rude, but every client I've spoken to or the like I'm not interested conversation, it's only because I tell them I'm not Angie's List. And as soon as you put also people, this isn't talked about in the group very often. If you create an ATB phone number for your roofer or for any of your contractors, be on it for the first 2 days. Like really pay attention to it, because some of the numbers in there get absolutely lit up by telemarketers, and then other numbers don't. I learned that. Right. The first number I had for like 10 calls the first day from like Home Advisor and Angie's List, and I have like a little portfolio of phone calls of my roofer just yelling at them, which is I think funny.
I actually noticed that in some of our campaigns. We had one, and he just got like 30 people. Just so many like people. It's like a nonprofit, and I was like, it's weird. Oh,
It's immediate.
Yeah, it's weird. People are just struggling out there, just trying to get these clients.
There's some predators out here, man.
And that's why I like the offer. Like, I like just going to people and being straight up, especially if they're in that blue collar service, because you're like, yeah, like, what's a client worth to you? You know? Oh, like, it's $100. Okay, well, what are you going to make off that? 80? Okay. Would you give me 30? Yeah. Okay, let's scale this out now. So I get you 100 people, right? Now you're paying me this. 3,000 a month sound good for that many clients? Did you do that deal? Okay, all right, now we're getting somewhere, right? Because now you can start like stripping it away. Because sometimes when you throw out a bunch of marketing terms, they're like, "What are you even saying right now? I don't even understand."
Do you need a new roof? Why are you?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, from your experience so far, I feel like it sounds like you've accomplished what you joined the program for.
I did. I would say I did.
How's that feel?
I get called out for this a lot. I don't think I give myself that kind of credit. So it doesn't feel any different. But I am very grateful to say that I'm not working as hard to survive. I don't have to work as hard to survive. And that kind of inspires me to work harder, because then it's really like you can do as good as you want in your life. If I put like 5 years of just like, I'm a marketing man, I do marketing, I sell shit, and I market it. If I put 5 years into that, I'm confident I could get to well over 10K a month. And then I would start to look like the first financially free person in my family. Everybody in my family has all worked very hard in their lives. They have amazing work ethic, but they kind of work to the capacity of their time, like I mentioned earlier. And I think if you apply that same kind of like work ethic, like the same kind of hustle to something that rewards you for how hard you work ultimately, I think that's the new American dream, right? Well, you guys are Canadian. I don't know what your dreams are.
They're usually pretty similar. But I mean, I think you could get there in less than 5 years. It just depends on what kind of path you want to take and how you want to streamline it for yourself, and how many of these other kind of, side jobs you take that, could distract you, but could also feed into your business. But when people say that they want to get to 10K a month and that's like their year goal, I'm like, okay, well, if you had to cut that in half, like if you're like, okay, my goal a year from now is to be at 10K a month, and I said to you, you have no choice but to do it in half the time, you'd probably just ramp up what you were already doing. So I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just when. Yeah.
I think I can
how quick you want to pull those triggers.
Absolutely. So I was being pretty conservative when I said 5 years to 10K a month. But like after doing this, if you really put your foot on the gas, and the hardest part is learning things you've never even thought, like conceptualize before. But like that takes most of the time. So give yourself from I know nothing about this business to I want one client. Maybe give yourself a little grace period. But once you're comfortable in the process and all you have to worry about is getting more people into your funnel, 6 months, I bet you could at least get to 5. You know, I'd say you could get to 10, but fuck it, you could get to 10 in 6 months if you really tried. But you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to know what you're doing. You can get to 2 in 6 months if you really are lazy and take your time.
Yeah, but knowing what you're doing just comes from doing it. Like whether you're in this business and you're helping roofers get customers, or you're doing a completely different type of business, I think just once you get a client and even get 2 clients and you get them some real results, it becomes this snowball effect where now getting other clients can just come down to you talking about what you did for those first ones. So I think that's how you get over that imposter syndrome, because you're like, well, obviously I can do this. I have done it.
Yeah, and that's kind of I guess I don't observe it often, like from outside of it, but I do feel that way. I feel like I can have a more confident conversation with most people in regard to how Google ads work, and just small things. I'm a white belt in marketing still, but I have a few stripes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to go at least to a blue belt. I mean, you started making money. Most motherfuckers out here just be like thinking about it and be like, "Oh, I could totally run this stuff. I know exactly what I'm doing."
Yeah,
like don't talk to anybody.
I'm gonna take this time to sound like a bit of a martial arts snob, but belts should be rewarded based on potential.
Okay. Well, I think you have the potential because you already got a client and you made him money. So nice try, motherfucker. I got you. You just gotta start reaching out to 100 people a day. You know, start reaching
Which
out.
I think I can do. Honestly, if I just power hour every day.
Boom, 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 dude. I don't know if you've seen that interview with his name is Kayleen. He was like the guy was like homeless, and then he went to 50K a month in his agency. That was like what he was. That's just what he said. He's like, yeah, I would just like call 150 people a day, like just boom, boom, and then I'd recall people. So he's like, I'd have people who I'd agree with, and they'd be like, fuck off, and then I'd call them again the next day and be like, what's up, man? And then they would like be in a totally different mood. He's like, you know what? You gotta just think of it. It's not even about you. It's about them in the moment, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're persistent, you know, you can call. And I thought that shit was cool because I never even picked up the phone and cold called anybody. So. You know, probably should have, but I didn't. I was like too scared. I was like, oh no.
I got a new game I want to try for my cold calls. You call the same business 3 times, but it's a new character every time. You got you know, whatever impressions you got on lock. But I got a few where I could really turn it on. I think that'll be fun. But
are they like different personas that you have lined up?
What's that?
Are they like different personas that you have lined up? Like you seem like you've got a plan here already.
Yes,
I want to hear some more details.
Yeah, I have. I have any Southern that you can think of, and I can really personify it. It's in my blood. You know, there's like the rural Southern, the effeminate Southern, all the Southerns I got on the phone. I could pull off an Australian guy for a bit. Maybe UK. I get caught up though. The UK transitions to Australian, so I gotta tighten that up a bit.
I mean, they're all Americans. They won't know the difference anyway, right?
What are you gonna do if you land that client though? Are you just gonna like commit to that Southern accent for the length of your partnership?
The way to get away with that. The character is the appointment setter.
Okay. I like that though. It takes the pressure off you.
I hope you document this and like turn it into a series, and then you can see which character is the most successful statistically.
I'm betting it's gonna be the feminine Southern. Can I get y'all some new roofing clients?
Oh my god, I can't wait to see how this plays out. Okay, I'm gonna pull this back on track here. So if there was somebody who is, you know, kind of feeling the way you were feeling, they've been working the same job for a while, and they've been kind of having this feeling like, I really think I could be my own business owner. I really want to make that leap into entrepreneurship. For most people, that is the hardest part, just making that leap, whether it's investing in a program or, you know, starting their idea. If you could pass along advice to those people who are considering making that leap, what would you pass along to them?
That's a good question. You can. It goes deeper than just like joining the course. I guess it's like you have to fundamentally believe that you can do anything you try to do. I don't like to say anything you set your mind to, because I've set my mind to losing weight for the past 20 years, but I haven't tried to lose weight. I think if you really try to do anything, you will be successful. And in doing things like that, like constantly challenging yourself, you will only be more and more open to like taking those risks. I guess just the more you try, the more you see what you're capable of, is all I'm trying to say. So just like really, if you want this, do it. If you don't want it, don't do it. If you know yourself, if you know you're I sign up for things and then I quit them right away, like you need to either curb that or don't do it, because you really got to try. They do give you all of the tools you need to succeed. There's people in there that want to see you succeed. Kelsey, you're one of them. Alex, you're another. I wouldn't have stuck it out if after the initial conversation, because it's easy to make somebody feel good when you want them to buy something, but after you've already sold them, it's harder to keep that up. And you were genuinely there for me when I needed a little bit of a nudge. So there's people in there that will help you, but you got to want it yourself. You got to try. No one's going to hand you anything. You can pay for a mentorship and you'll probably learn a lot more way faster than I did. But that's the only way anybody's going to be like looking over your shoulder. You got to just try and apply yourself. That's my best advice.
That was good. That almost seemed rehearsed. Well done.
Did it?
Yeah, it was good.
Actually, I've been kind of fielding anything you would have asked me before this podcast. For the call. I don't know. Is this a podcast?
Nice.
What is this podcast? What is this?
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Still
Well,
figuring
people
that
want to
out.
know. Well, people want to know.
It's a podcast, live stream, YouTube, documentation. We like making content. We figure out what to do with it later.
Yeah, so
A lot of times.
basically right now what it's looking like is we have a Facebook group that we're live in right now, where we'll be posting these live so that if people have questions or, you know, are thinking about online business, then they can kind of get that value. They'll also turn into clips for LMB. You know, when people say good shit or they have testimonials, then James and Jason can use those as they see fit. But it's also just to like help people kind of relate to other people who got into online business, because sometimes that's the biggest thing, like with imposter syndrome and stuff, is people think that their problems are unique to them. So sometimes just seeing this kind of content where you're like, oh, Tyler's just a guy who like just tried, and that's kind of how I feel right now. So for somebody, they might see a clip of you saying exactly what you just said, and that could be the nudge that they need. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, this is basically the type of business that I know for me, I wish I had, 10 years ago, instead of going to college and doing all kinds of stuff or doing it while in college, because I've been a part of a lot of different programs. I've taken a lot of different courses, and they've all helped me do something, right? I've never been like, that guy scammed me, because I just believe it's a stupid mindset to have. I mean, why would you buy something, not do anything that they said to do, and then feel like you got scammed? I think you're just stupid at that point. So like for me, I've always done the thing. But when you do it, sometimes you don't see the pitfalls in it. So I started doing like Instagram, and then I'd like help local businesses with Instagram and all kinds of stuff. But I would attract people who just wanted followers, because I could grow a lot of followers and get that going. But at the end of the day, like, you're not really safe, because they're trying to do business ultimately,
Right.
not the follower.
Right.
So while I could do things that could get them people in the door, I never had systems in place to help them decide what offer to push it, how to talk to them, all these other things. So when we had joined this program, that was something that I was like really looking for myself, because I was like, okay, I don't want to grow another account to 1 million followers unless I have a way of making money directly from it. So I would just like market that I could do that kind of stuff, but I wanted to use it as a business, not like try to be like, I can grow you followers and then you'll maybe make money or something. I want to just be like, I make all this fucking money. Like, why do I go all these other steps? I'll just make the money. So that's kind of why I like this side itself. And we really have immersed ourselves in it. And, we've been getting on some calls, talking to people who want to do something themselves. And now we're trying to talk to more people in the group, because we want to be able to learn, like, what was it for you that changed, and what did that do for you in just how you viewed your own life and what that changed for you, and ultimately, where you go from here. Because I don't think this is the end all be all for most people. I think you can, but I think it's a really good start of marketing, because now you start making money. Like, you get a taste for it. It's not an idea anymore. You're like, I did that shit. So I could keep doing what I'm doing right now. Like, you could keep doing roofers. You could get better at doing roofers. You could do the biggest roofing companies in the country. Like, you have a large ceiling, or you could do something else. But now you understand that it's possible. And that's where it all begins. You have to make that money to then be like, shit.
100%. I'm not going to retire a marketer. This is not my end goal. This is the vehicle. This is the vehicle to build my passion projects.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's marketing and sales. That's like the front end of anything. Mm-hmm. If you can learn how to market other people's businesses with their money and get paid for it, why wouldn't you? Right? Like, everyone's like, I want to start a business, and then they like drop $300K on like some franchise, and you're like, what are you doing, dude?
And then they sell spices. They sell spices at flea markets.
Yeah. I think you made a really good point there, though, is that so many people know they want to get into business. They know they want to do online business. They're like, yeah, I want to work from home. I want to make 10K a month. And they have these kind of like arbitrary goals, but they have no idea how to actually get there. And I think, like you said, your goal for your entire life doesn't have to be a marketer. But if you learn marketing, if you learn sales, if you learn how to reach out to people and get them excited about what you do, you can take those skills and you can take those strategies and really like mold it into a business that actually really excites you.
And what do those billionaire influencers all say on TikTok? Like, you can make a sale, you'll never be broke again. Like, it's a pretty important part of life, I guess. Especially business.
Mm-hmm. It's really like getting taught like how to fish. So just getting like handed a fish, you're like really learning how to do it yourself, and now it changes the way you even see everything else around you. Like, you're like, oh man, like, that's how this person's marketing that. This is who's marketing this, and this is the opportunity I have around me. And it's really like you get to put new glasses on, and you get to see opportunities, because everybody wants to be their own business owner. Everybody thinks that, like, if I just had the opportunity, they're right in front of you, probably right now. You just like you can't see them. You haven't been trained to see them. You have no idea what's going on. You can't recognize the opportunity in front of you. It fucking hits you in the face, right? So like, for me, I really am a big proponent of people getting training and getting things, and like sending you a voice note about like the advice that I had. Like, I don't know if that's going to help, but like maybe people have done that for me too, and that's just kind of like perpetuating the cycle. Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is the decisions you make really greatly impact your family. And if I can be a part of that, sweet, man.
A cool thing that I guess we can relate on is the standpoint of, so you came from a restaurant, you've done serving and bartending and stuff. I'm sure you've had friends that have worked hourly jobs and kind of just got by, and you were like, dude, just get in a restaurant. Like, you'll make all the money you need, you'll work less hours, it's great. But none of them ever want to leave the security of their $15 an hour, $20 an hour job, because they're like, well, it's tips, it's not guaranteed money. It's kind of a similar feeling to leaping into like the business and sales world. A lot of sales jobs, you're only going to get paid if you sell things. You start a business, you're only going to get paid if you provide service. probably a similar idea, but the opportunity to earn there is exponentially higher than the thing before. Like I made the most I could as a bartender at my age without any skills. And as I get older, I need more, or I want more at least. I can admit that. I just want more. I want a jet ski, you know. Thanks for laughing.
Yeah, I mean that comes with that like conviction though, and that belief in yourself. Like I could actually do it, because I think that's why a lot of people shy away from any kind of like commission roles or anything like that, and they cling to that, as you said, kind of like secure lifestyle, because they're like, well, what if I can't do it, and then I've made a bad decision? It's like you have to be willing to bet on yourself that you will actually try.
But what if you could?
Right. And you know what? I can't be 80 and broke. That's a problem.
I don't even want to be 20. I don't even want to be 25 and broke.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But
I'm supposed to be broke. I'm supposed to be
being
broke.
like, you know, I'm trying to get the hot nurses when I'm 80. You know,
feel me?
That's what I'm trying to
Feel
get.
me?
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to be like, yeah, I'm a pimp. I work my life. Now I got people taking care of me.
Kiss
you
the
know?
ring. Kiss
Like,
the ring.
I want to like, yeah, like I want to like have different things and the ability, because like, well, what's the point? Because there's nothing more heartbreaking. And I mean, honestly, every single day. And one thing I think people discount, like with the serving, bartending, and everything, is the new skills you develop by doing things like that in a way that you wouldn't have done previously. And us like talking to people about this type of business is interesting for us, because I know for me, I get on the phone with someone every day who's going through a worst case scenario. They could have had a heart attack. They could have had a stroke. They could have been 65 taking care of their 3 grandkids because their kids are drug addicts or something. And now they have $1,000 in car payments, and they have all the, and you're just listening to this and you're like, at what point was it not enough for you though? Like, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know,
how did you get this deep?
You're so deep, and that's like, I'm not going to try and convince you should change. Like, you have to decide you want to change. I mean, I can almost guarantee you'll get the result if you do it, but based on your behavior, I don't think you will, because you haven't done it your entire life and you're 65. So like, what am I going to do?
It's kind of, and then it goes back into the feel challenge. I'm telling you how to fit it, but I'm 25. And I'm 25. I have to say.
I mean, people don't like to be challenged. I mean, the way that I've been getting away with it is like, if I really feel like someone is like discounting themselves in a way, like not being genuine, I'm getting better at like calling them out on it. Not in like super combative, but just be like, okay, like this literally happened like yesterday. Had somebody out on the phone. I was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, I'm already doing all this stuff. Like, I'm already in the web field. I already talked to all these businesses. I'm already doing all this stuff. But, you know, talk to the wife, and the investment's just too much. I'm like, okay. So you're telling me right now you're going to try and grow your business slowly over time. Short term, because short term you don't want to put out the money. You have it. You say you have it. You got the money. In short term, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But you could and you could probably learn all this stuff yourself. Sure, maybe you could learn how to do all these campaigns. Or, crazy idea here, wild, those 10 business owners you say you know, you just apply all this stuff to them this month. And then you start making money off them this month. Instead of going one by one, trying to figure it all out, learn, do all this stuff. Like 12 months from now, man, you're in a different position. So it's like, don't do it, do it. Not going to change my life, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm going to forget about you tonight. Like, it's not going to change my life. But like, you right now, I think you're fucking up.
What was the nature of the call?
Oh, it's just like, we talk to people all the time that are interested in doing some kind of business, or interested in joining LMV or anything like that. So a lot of these people are people interested in starting, or interested in adapting these skills or these services into their existing businesses. And, you know, we'll talk with people who do own agencies, but they struggle. Maybe they can close clients, but they can't keep them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, you just suck at fulfilling. Like, yeah. Or they're like, oh, like, I can't talk to people. I don't know how to find them. Oh, you don't feel confident in what you're doing. You should just like, there's like a bunch of different ways. We can just give you scripts and stuff. Like, you know, but sometimes people feel like they're like that short-term discomfort. They feel like it's like a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, you should feel bad. Like, yeah, you light a fire in your ass. You're gonna get after it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a mindset shift, kind of. Honestly, you gotta be willing to suffer right now to be better at anything later. How do you?
Sorry, Tyler. I was gonna say, how have you found like the mindset shift of going from being now you're a business owner?
The mindset didn't happen from starting the shift didn't happen from starting a business. The shift happened to start the business. It's kind of and how I've adopted that mindset throughout my life is mainly through like martial arts and playing music. I've been doing jiu-jitsu a long time, so anytime you're trying to get better at jiu-jitsu, you're getting smashed. Like, you're getting destroyed by people way better than you. But a new white belt walks into the gym, and all of a sudden you're smashing them, and you didn't see the progress while you were getting fucking destroyed. So I guess the point I'm trying to look at here is that it's like your mindset needs to be willing to suffer, and you're not going to see growth day of anything. You have to be like, okay, I'll suffer for a few days, and then at the end of that day, that maybe on the fourth day, it'll be easier. But you're not really like consciously observing it get easier or anything. You just have to be willing to kind of do that shit, you know? Does that make sense? Makes sense?
Just go through the fire.
Exactly. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. Music's a better example. You suck at guitar when you first pick it up. You just try playing the things that other people are playing, and eventually it's going to sound like a song. So, I don't know. You just got to be willing to be like, okay, I suck at this. I'm going to get better at this.
Nice. That's a good quote right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got to be willing to suck at things.
Yeah. We're gonna let you go after this because we've had you on here for a while, but I think that's a really good note
you guys aren't
to kind of
sleeping
end
over?
on.
Is that
what's that?
You guys aren't sleeping over?
Yeah, we're already in our pajamas.
I made dinner.
No, we're not.
I made dinner. I'm just kidding.
I made dinner. What'd you make?
Nothing. I can't cook.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
Bartender, you get it from the back.
Yeah,
that's right.
Someone in the back that's mad at me that will give you the food.
Yeah, they preheated it. It was all frozen before, but we got it ready.
Good. It's good.
No, what I was going to say is I think a lot of people are scared to take that leap because they are afraid to feel like they suck at something. Like they're like, I don't want to start something new. I don't want to feel like I'm shitty at it. What if it doesn't work? And it's just that fear because for a lot of people, they haven't hit that bottom yet. Like they haven't got to that point where they're like, yeah, I need to change. And for some people, that needs to happen first. Like they need to have that happen in order to believe, I think.
I tell them to be scared. It's not a bad thing to be scared. That's like, it's good for you to be scared. Your body's making you sharper. You're supposed to be uncomfortable all of the time. I don't, maybe not all the time. Put your pajamas on after 7, but it's fine. Just don't be a coward. Be afraid. But if you know something needs to go and you're not doing anything about it, but the thing that looks like a way out is scary, just be scared. It's not going to kill you. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to fail. You're going to die anyway. Like, what's the worst that can happen? All of this is going to be gone. One day. Don't be a pussy.
And you can be scared and still act brave.
For sure. You can even act scared while you're doing it. Just try. But if you don't try, nothing will happen.
I feel like that's a good note to end on.
Tyler, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's awesome to see and look forward to see how you decide to grow your business moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for being so transparent with us about, the struggles that you've went through, the changes that you've made, and, a little bit about where you want to grow it. I mean, that's awesome. And at the end of the day, I like seeing people grow their business and make some money.
That's what I'm here to do. I appreciate you guys having me. It means a lot. Reach out whenever. Love talking to you guys.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Got it.
Tyler. We appreciate you.
All right, we're gonna end this recording, and then
Oh yeah,
just keep the. You could shut off your camera and all that stuff, but we just need the
let it finish uploading.
upload. Yeah. Bye.
All right. Later.